Hello and welcome to Digging with Dugan. Today we are going to be covering the periods between the death of Hor-Aha and a little bit after the death of Djur, his son and heir. Now, as Aha dies prematurely, as seems to be the theme for the early kings, he leaves a short regency of Neith-Hotep, and that's where Neith finishes up her mastaba and gains the permanent claims on the title of king in her own right. And this also sparks the beginning of women's inclusion in the royal court. Now, as we'd mentioned, this is not a patriarchal society in its entirety. Women fill lots of roles, but the kingship had been established by Namer and primarily run by men under his reign, which changed when there was a regency. And so at this point, we see the normalization of an unspoken co-regency sort of thing. There's this position called the royal consort, the royal wife, or the queen consort. Now, the queen consort doesn't necessarily have to be the main child producer of the king. This position, while it would traditionally be held by the most competent wife of the king, if one of the king's sisters was more competent, which mind you, they also married their sisters, but if one of the king's sisters was more competent, they made them the queen consort, and they did a lot of the background stuff. And so we see that women are now, it's now normalized for women to hold positions of power. And let's see, Djur takes the throne. Now he is known as the Serpent of Horus. His symbol is a traditional depiction of Horus atop a mastaba, and inside the mastaba is a serpent. It's also translated as the Cobra of Horus. Now, hilariously, Djur will have a court attendant who is depicted alongside him in one of his ivory inscriptions, whose name is like something like the serpent who enslaves, or the attack serpent. To fully understand this, I have to get into the Cumanic language, hieroglyphs. Now, it's kind of a marriage between pictographic and symbolic languages. Pictures mean something, and the meaning can be dictated by the sentence it's in. And the attack serpent's name is literally a serpent wielding a sword, holding a pair of disembodied arms at sword point, and presumably dragging them off into slavery. It's, by our standards, a little convoluted, but very entertaining. And now, this king reigns for 41 years. And upon his death, he has, now let me find the number, let's see, 318 people ritually strangled and buried alongside of him so that they can be his servants in the afterlife. These are his retainers and possibly some of his friends. Now, I assume they had to prearrange this, and as he dies, again, prematurely, we can assume that he had this arranged upon his death, that these people would be killed. I don't know if these people would have known that this is going to happen to them. But you can imagine, you kind of can. It's pretty crazy. But when he dies, his queen consort, Neith, his sister, who may or may not have been a child-producing wife of his, I'll double-check that later. But she becomes queen regent, and she would have certainly spoken with and wanted to emulate Neith-Hotep, the regency before. So she really solidifies women's position in government. She had to have been an imposing and impressive woman. But she's king in her own right before the next king. And I think that's where we should leave it off with. Hope you enjoyed.